Andrew, without further ado, what were we going to lead in with?
Well, we were going to lead in with what expats normally don't do normally do overseas, which they would not do in their home countries.
But, well, hold on. No, you had talked about something else. You talked about a definition. What is an expat? And listeners who know the answer, don't say anything yet. Wait for Andrew's answer.
I'm glad you asked that question, Mike. Now, expats comes from the term for patty, an Irishman. During the great potato famine way back when, all these patties left their home country. Hence the term Expaddy, which has been cut down to expat in modern day.
And it was recently St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, it was.
Which is why I now know the second tidbit that further invalidates the plausibility of your version. Patty with a T is for Patricia. If you're a guy, it's Paddy with a D.
Paddy.
So then that would be expad. I actually tend to think that the expat is a short form of expatriate.
Well, I'm still a patriot. I may be overseas, but I'm a patriot for my country, so I find your argument invalid.
But you would consider yourself an ex-patty, an ex-Irish person.
Well, it does lead into the stereotypes of expats having drinking issues.
And a love of potatoes.
Love of potatoes, and we drink a lot.
I think you're insulting the Irish population of the world, which in Turkey might not be such a significant number. But in North America, it's quite a lot.
No, I mean, think of it this way. Everywhere in the world you go, there's an Irish pub run by an expat.
Do they call them pubs in Ireland? I always thought pub was an English term.
Well, pub, bar... No, it's a pub. I think they use that term.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you clarified that. All right. So, what do you do here in Turkey or in wherever you've been? For those who don't know, Andrew's been all over the world, actually. What do you do here that you wouldn't do back in Canada?
Well, I find that a lot of people, when they're overseas, they tend to be more relaxed, meaning they know no one's going to see them or nothing really has consequences. Me, when I was younger and stupider, I know there was a lot of drunken tomfoolery and waking up on random couches, and that's something I would normally not do in my home country.
Is it because the couches are less comfortable in Canada?
Yeah, well, I mean, overseas you find yourself trusting strangers more than you would normally trust, and also you have your own group of friends, so you're more, how to put it?
Communal?
Communal, yes, that was the term I was looking for. Well, as an expat, you don't really have that luxury. You find your friends where you can, and you hang out with people who are readily available.
Okay. So, this drunken tomfoolery, I assume this will comprise the majority of your things you do in other countries that you wouldn't do in Canada. What did you do as the result of some drunfoolery?
Well, there was one time in Cambodia, me and some buddies decided to have a drunken ostrich race down one of the main streets of a city.
Now, to clarify that you decided to have a drunken ostrich race in Cambodia, are ostriches indigenous? No, what is the term? Is it indigenous? Maybe that's just people.
No, they're not indigenous.
Yeah, okay. They're exdigenous. So I'm presuming, did you bring your own ostriches? Is this one of those bring your own ostriches to the race?
No, it was one of those situations where there was a ostrich farm close to the bar because it was like a village bar, and as we're walking by, we see ostriches and go, ooh, ostriches. Then as you're drinking, you look around and go, hey, let's ride one of those ostriches we seen earlier today.
Are you sure this was an ostrich and not an emu? What was the point of having an ostrich farm? Do you have what's the economic model?
Feathers and eggs.
Have you ever in your life seen ostrich eggs for sale?
Yes.
You know how big they are. Wait, what do you mean? Where did you see it for sale? In Cambodia?
In Canada we have ostrich farms, and they actually farm them for their eggs and feathers. and occasionally the meat, but
You see,
it's,
you're absolutely sure they're ostriches. I mean, all right, now I'm not
it's to a
insulting you by
selected
trying to say that.
markets, but they do actually sell ostrich eggs.
Well, I mean, I know emu is raised in the United States, particularly where I grew up in Georgia. There were a lot of emu farms for the meat, not for the eggs.
Okay.
So you're telling me that right now in Canada, it's not that uncommon to go down to your corner store and pick up an ostrich egg.
No, it's selected. It's sold to a specific market. I'm not sure exactly
like Toronto,
where they
obviously. I
sell
mean,
it,
Toronto being the biggest market.
but it is produced and sold somewhere.
If you're living in Canada right now, I know a couple of people in Canada, great people. I love these people in Canada. If you're living in Canada right now, take a moment this weekend if you can. Run down to your local market, maybe the bigger market. This may be a more specialty item. Go down to your bigger market, and just write in what's the going price on an ostrich egg. And do you buy? You don't buy a dozen, obviously.
Well, maybe they only sold them on Twitter. I don't know. It's banned now, so we cannot check. But it's probably one of those online order.
Direct to your home ostrich egg delivery. That. Wow, and they make money doing that. I assume ostriches are not the cheapest things in the world to be raising, so that is their model.
Well, if they have a couple ostrich farms, that means they're making money somehow.
You're right.
And it's not just in the drunken tourist racing.
Okay, well, that's right. All right, so I'm sorry. Back to okay. So you and your buddies, how many of there were you?
There was 4.
4. Okay, that's
4.
That's like a what? It's almost like a Mario Kart race.
Okay.
Who was in the pole position? Do you remember?
Pole position.
Yeah, the lead spot to start. Inside, starting out with the.
I think it was a British guy.
Name?
I can't remember.
Okay, that story's great. Okay, so I mean, because these are these close communal friends that you develop in these.
No, they weren't. They're just guys that I randomly met in a bar 2 days before. We decided, hey, let's hang out together, spend some time.
Race some ostriches, get crazy,
Exactly.
All right, so who won?
I don't think there was actually a winner because we all never made it to the designated finish line.
Okay, ostriches they're tough to handle, huh?
Yeah. We were basically thrown from our mounts and mauled as the local population laughed.
So there was an audience for this?
Yes.
But not the farmer. The
One
rancher.
Of the
let me
hands.
clarify. It should be rancher, not the farmer.
One of the ranch hands. Because we didn't go in and steal ostriches. We're like, hey, can we ride your ostriches? How much? Okay, this much. Let's go.
How much did you pay? This was a pay to ride. This was like a petting zoo.
We paid, I don't know, equivalent of $10 a piece.
How much was the ostrich to buy?
I have no idea. We never asked.
Okay, so how many seconds? So this is more like a rodeo. This is like a bucking ostrich.
Yes.
Okay, how many seconds did you make it?
I made it about a minute. But the thing is, as you're hanging on, the ostrich of the buddy beside you is attacking you, and the ostrich on the other side is also attacking you. So they're all attacking each other.
I mean, attacking with their beak only, right?
Beak, if they get you down, they get you with your claws as well.
Well, do you have scars from this event? Because, I mean, to be honest, ostriches are not something to fuck around with. Those are some pretty severe kicks and nails that they have. So, do you still have all of your bowels?
Yeah.
Okay, it's all there.
I got everything.
Okay, and everybody else, everybody left with their
everybody
internal
left
organs
relatively intact.
Well, that's all right. So, but you're saying you wouldn't do that in Canada. Ostriches are available in Canada for eggs, I assume, for riding.
Okay.
But you wouldn't do it there, huh?
No. No, I would not.
See, I'd have to assume that if I was going to ride an ostrich, I would ride an ostrich that had grown up in the same language as me. So I would at least have a chance to communicate and reason with it.
Okay, well, let's bypass the ostriches and go to something exotic. We were sitting...
Okay, let's leave the ostriches and go to something exotic. What could be more exotic than an ostrich race in Cambodia? I can't wait. What do you got?
Thailand.
Well, that was a special request from one lonely listener, Friday night listener, who wanted to hear some stories from Thailand. What do you got?
Okay, so Me and a couple guys are sitting around in a pub in Thailand, and it's an outside garden type pub, and there's a fountain in the middle. Well, we were looking in the fountain, and there's this god ugly fish. It's massive. And we asked the locals, what is this? Apparently it is an elephant fish, one of the equivalents to like a piranha. So we're like, okay, cool. So we sit down and we start drinking. And then we devise a game of, let's see who can touch the god-awful, ugly elephant fish on the nose.
I mean, when you say it's kind of like an equivalent to a piranha, you mean it's got giant teeth visible from the outside.
Yes, and it'll take your finger off.
Okay.
Okay. So anyways.
And you guys stopped at finger, huh? You didn't keep drinking until, you put your cocks in it.
Yeah. We're drinking, and we go, okay, next person who touches the piranha gets free drinks. So what you have is one guy acting as a baiter, and he's wiggling his finger in front of the nose to make the fish go. It's rather slow, so that's fine. And the other person...
It's slow until it wants to be fast.
Exactly. And then the other person has to go from behind its head and touch it on the nose. And the thing is, when the fish gets touched, it turns around really quickly, so the person who baited has to slap the fish on the tail. Anyways, we played a couple rounds of that.
Until
someone got bit.
Did they lose the finger?
No, they did not lose the finger.
Did they lose their buzz?
Yeah.
So that was
end.
You think that story was somehow more interesting and exotic than the ostrich one?
Well, it had elephant fish.
Is that the official name, or is that the name that you came up with?
That's the name that the local gave me.
Elephant piranha fish?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
never had any interest. I mean, this never piqued your curiosity later to go, searching online to find out what was the species.
Not really.
Yeah. No, it's just a random one-night fish in a bar.
Exactly. I mean, then you walk out of another bar and you walk into an elephant in the middle of the street. Then they're like frying bugs on the side of the road, so you have bets on who can eat the most disgusting-looking bug. Random things like that.
Yeah, how many did you eat?
I ate a grasshopper about, I don't know, half the size of my arm.
Oh, well, okay. All right. Logistically, I mean, the listeners at home can't see, but demonstrate for me how you ate it. Did you eat it? Was it like chicken legs, or was it a whole cricket?
It was like a whole cricket like that.
Okay. Well, did you bite into it? How did you bite into it?
You have to eat this thing like a carrot. You just do.
Huh. You have to eat it like a carrot.
Like a carrot. It has
but it's the
no
size.
taste.
You said it was the size of what? You just made it look like the size of your forearm.
No, I mean it was the length of the forearm, but it's really skinny, like a carrot, right? So.
I don't know.
Think like a breadstick.
Okay, I mean, but was that the consistency? Was it just kind of crunchy? What was the flavor?
Well, it had no real taste. It was just kind of crunchy and burnt. It has no meat. It's all exoskeleton. And then one of my buddies ate a forest spider.
Yeah,
which was
a forest spider.
Size of a baseball. Kind of like a tarantula that lives in a tree.
Cooked or raw?
Cooked. They sell it like meat on a stick. One of the
See, I do. I mean, not to cut you off, but this is kind of it always kind of bugs me. I mean,
it bugs you.
That was I'm so good. I didn't even mean to be this good. I've been vegetarian now for almost 9 years, and it's not that it was my life's mission in life to consume invertebrate invertebrate animals, and these strange things that don't exist as food in the U.S., but I'd always reasoned that in my mind, before I die, I would eat a lot of these things, just because I said I want to be that kind of person who doesn't want to do it, but through ignorance puts himself in situations where that's what he needs to do. But as a vegetarian, I find that a lot of that's it's been thrown out the window. And I'm not going to stop being vegetarian, so I can kill an innocent insect or arachnid in the case of a spider. But your stories, they make me wistful.
Wistful.
Wistful.